This is Mark and Charity's Coffee Podcast.
Mark and Charity Coffee Podcast for Wednesday, March 9th. Coming up, Russia has put out a list of countries they don't like. Don't you just want to be on that list?
Oh, I hope we are.
Worldwide phenomenon of Wordle has gone on long enough that there are now world rankings. What countries are best at it? Where does Canada rank? And where within Canada, amongst the cities, do you think Belleville would rank?
Okay, good, because I hope we're on that list for sure.
We're going to talk about that, but right off the top, it is Blue Ribbon of Hope Day for Random Acts of Kindness Week. And our own J-Man, Jason, who lives outside of Kingston, brought in some pizza this morning.
Oh, my gosh.
Oh, wow.
Again, where was it from? You said Kingston, but my
Gabriel's.
goodness.
Oh.
He can bring that in every week. That was actual bacon strips on the pizza. Thick
And
cheese. Fantastic crust. It was just...
Recording this at 9:30 in the morning, it's like I'm a second-year university student again.
That's amazing.
And somebody had leftover pizza for breakfast,
Yeah.
and that's the greatest thing that's going to happen to me all day. So good.
Thank you, Jason. See, it's stuff like that
Random
that
acts
this
of kindness.
week is
I
about.
know.
Now, he did go out and buy a pizza, but even the smallest acts of kindness. And again, some may think that's small. I think that's a huge deal. For him
That's
to bring
great.
in pizza for all of us is amazing. But as we point out, even holding the door for someone, it's all these
Just
little
do
things
it.
that just make people feel so much better.
And today is known as Blue Ribbon of Hope Day. Now, we both have ours on, which has
Yep.
a little...
You got it on there? Just a little-
And I think the most important word in that is hope.
Yes.
In a world right now, let's not overstate that. Blue Ribbon of Hope. So put it on and let everybody know how you stand on that. As a list came out this morning, we talked about right off the hop, because I think this is really important, that the Russian Federation government on Monday approved the list of foreign states and territories that commit unfriendly actions against Russia, its companies, and its citizens.
Are their feelings hurt? Do they feel unloved?
That's
Do
the
they
way.
feel
Yeah.
everybody's against them? Then why?
Well, not everybody. You know, just a handful of nations. So
A
number
handful,
one
okay.
is the United States, and number two is Canada. So the United States
Clearly.
and Canada,
Yes.
which is not a lot of people. It's only, combined 500,000 people, give or take. Oh, wait a minute. The entire European Union of states. Germany, France, Spain,
All right.
Austria.
Okay.
The UK. Yep, UK's on the list. So that's a lot of people now. We're up to,
Yeah,
they don't
all right.
like it. Ukraine, clearly. Ukraine's on
That
there.
kind of, I think, went without saying, yeah.
Switzerland's on the list. Now, who doesn't give it up for Switzerland? Russia doesn't like Switzerland
Clearly
anymore.
not Russia.
Albania, Andorra, Iceland, Liechtenstein. Haven't they been a fly in the ointment throughout Russia's history, right? Liechtenstein. I'm happy to be partying with that country. Monaco, Norway.
Huh.
Norway.
The-
Gotten under the Russian skin. Norway, with all of their what? Acts of aggression?
All their Olympic medals.
Yeah, that's what it is. Norway, what with their playing by the rules?
They beat us at the Olympics. We don't like them anymore.
North Macedonia, apparently South Macedonia's on the fence. Japan, not good.
Oh, okay.
South Korea, Australia, Micronesia, New Zealand, Singapore, and Taiwan.
You know who's
All-
not on that list?
Who?
Who I noticed this morning? China.
China's not on the list. They're too big to mess around with. It's funny,
Okay.
though. I mean, we can laugh, but that
bothers me that they're not on the list. Because if
True.
they're not on the list,
You know what
that
I
means
think it
they like 'em.
No, I think it's afraid of them. They're afraid of them. I think
well, I hope that's why it is.
Yeah, I think-
really hope that's
because we
why.
worry, because let's face it, in this world of what do they have, 1.2 billion people, they are the world's
China?
largest economy
Yes.
for the most part. I mean, you can argue it based on import export, but as a consumer market of 1.2 billion, for example, the question was, why did Lululemon charge $80 for gloves
'Cause
in
they
Canada?
can.
And the deal was they didn't become the Canadian sponsor of the Olympics because of Canada. It's because the Olympics were held in China. They want a foothold in the Chinese market. They wanted the Canadian athletes to show the Chinese consumer, wow, I want those. And you think, well, that's not very Canadian. Yeah, but it's business-like. So I think Russia, for all of its saber rattling and horrible aggressions that we're viewing is keeping an eye in the rearview mirror to see how China's going to react to that. But anyway, isn't it nice to be on a list of China that Russia doesn't like?
Yeah, no, I'm happy to be at the top of that list. That's okay. I'm good.
So
I'm good
we're
with
up
that.
there. And thank you for everybody yesterday that took part in International Women's Day when Mika had put that together at the Four Corners in downtown, because it included, as she said, the belief in hope in a better world through equality for all and for the Ukraine people.
Some great pictures from there. I don't know if you
really
saw them.
wonderful.
And thankfully, Mother Nature cooperated. She came through wholeheartedly. And a good group down there, too. Some wonderful signs and ladies out there. Not too many men. And I think that gets forgotten because, yes, it's International Women's Day, but part of that is men supporting these women, being there, acknowledging it and seeing that change is necessary and we need, the only way to move forward is together.
Right.
So it's not a case of putting women ahead of men. It's working together.
Yeah, it's spotlighting for sure.
Exactly.
And I know there had been, for example, when we Take Back the Night Women's March, they would ask that men not take part in that. So I don't know if that
that's
confuses
a little
it.
different. Yeah.
I mean, I don't find that confusing.
No.
So it's not to say, well, make up your mind. No. It's two different things.
That's a good point, though. That is a good point because for a long time that was the event.
Right.
Was the walk at night, and there was some significance to that.
Of course.
So yes, I understand why some may feel, okay, well, I'm not supposed to be part of this, but in fact, no. You are. Everybody's invited to be part of this.
So next year, let's make that point.
Yes.
Make that point a little bit better. What else we talked about this morning? Then we got talking about Wordle.
Another study.
Oh my gosh.
We're pretty high on the list. Not as high as the enemy list for Russia or the we don't like you list. But the Wordle list that came out ranking countries around the world, we're okay.
We're
I think we can
right.
do better. We can certainly do better. But
it's been around long enough now, a few months, that they've been able to determine who's got it and who doesn't. And on average, it takes Canadians, of the 6 guesses, and I'll assume if you're listening to the podcast
you're familiar
and you're
with
this
them.
deep into it, and we've talked about it often enough how Wordle works. So you get the 6 guesses. On average, Canadians need 3.90 guesses. So in a week, we do 6 of them in 4 and 1 in 3, right? Because that would get it just below 4.
Because
just
on
below
average,
4.
I would say it takes me 4 guesses. I have it by 4.
Right.
So
yeah,
close.
I got a few 6s, and I'm not bragging about it.
Though I like to forget those.
I got a handful of 3s, but 4. Yeah, 4 is like right in the wheelhouse. That gets us slightly better than the world average, which is 3.919.
Oh, that's the world.
That's the world average.
So
we beat the Americans, who are 3.92.
And really, does anything else matter?
Doesn't matter. It's like the gold medal for Olympic hockey. How many
we
did we
don't have
finish?
to be number 1.
No.
But as long as we're ahead of the U.S., we're good.
The U.S., that's still good. Wordle champ is Sweden.
Really?
Yeah, 3.72. And that's
Holy cow.
significant statistically speaking.
Yeah.
Over millions and millions of players.
They're quick.
Lots of it. But you pointed out, as we got thinking about it, that I wonder, and that's pretty highbrow thinking, even for me, especially for me, I wonder whether Wordle is as difficult, more difficult, less difficult for Swedes in Swedish than Wordle is for us in English.
I think that's a fair question. Something
because
to ponder.
I obviously don't speak
because it is in different
Swedish.
languages, as we found out because we did look it up. 15 languages.
Wordle's
it is available in 50 different languages. So yeah, you got to think in different parts of the world. It wouldn't be in English, of course. It would be in that native language. So.
Because Brazil beats us.
Are some languages easier than others?
I don't know. Brazil's 3.83, so they'd be Spanish pretty well. I guess it's Brazilian, but it would be like a Latin language, Latin American language. Whether that is easier.
Because they say English is a very difficult language anyway when people are learning it because we have so many spellings of the same words and meanings and whatnot. So I don't know. I don't know if English would be more difficult.
And Australia's better than us, and they speak Australian. It's not English because I don't understand most of the stuff they're talking about when they get going. But certainly,
they have a better handle on English than we do.
Yeah,
which is a little frightening.
Like as Barbie, a word for Bobby, shrimp on the Bobby. Barbie is a 5-letter word for them. Well, that's not fair. We've got barbecue. Ours is 8. But we had that. So, but based amongst Canada, then they broke it down. So the top 5 major centers of Wordle excellence. Edmonton's number 5. Montreal's number 4. Just behind Ottawa at number 3 at 3.87 number of guesses on average.
Okay.
Vancouver at 3.84. And Toronto leads the way at 3.81. Toronto.
Now,
So
is
we're
that
between Toronto and
because-
Ottawa, so I think we'd be in the top 5. I think Belleville would be in that area of the top 5.
Does population matter when they're
I think
finding
so.
this?
Well, again, it's a percentage, right? So if there's only 5 people in Belleville who do it and we all do 6, our average is 6. It would be the worst. But I think we're probably in the middle.
Okay.
I don't know how many
Because I
people
just
in
think these
Belleville
are
do it.
larger centers. So if you average that out possibly with smaller centers, I would think maybe
Maybe
the
it
numbers
would,
could change.
but I think it's a pretty good representation
Okay.
of where we are. And I would like to think that we in Canada embraced it pretty quickly and got into as much all of the derivative games. And we've talked about that on the podcast
There's been
before.
so many. In fact, today I learned of another one.
What, Girdle? It's not actually a game. It's
No, neither is strudel.
It's a it's actually a close-fitting
Ha ha
garment.
ha. Yes, you used that joke this morning.
Yeah, hard
But-
to believe. No, not on the radio you didn't. Yeah, I kind of did.
Birdle. So I hadn't heard of this one before. Now this is, again, 6 tries, but it's related to choral music. And answers include proper nouns, plurals, and musical terms in other languages.
Wow, that's
That's too hard for me.
Birdle, B-Y-R-D-L-E.
Yes, B-Y-R-D-L-E. So now there's a Birdle.
There
You
is.
do so many.
It's not right.
I stick
do
to
too many.
hurdle in my Wordle.
I think Nerdle is now my favorite. I got to thank the
That's
listener
the
who got
math
it. That's
one,
the
right?
math
The
one.
math equations?
8 boxes, and I did it this morning in 3. So it's a mathematical
You like
equation.
brain teasers, though.
I love that
and not
stuff.
that Wordle isn't a brain teaser.
Because it is.
It is, but
I find it stressful.
Nerdle, I would think, is more, it would make you think more than Wordle. Wordle, you
Yeah.
kind of got to, what could that be? But Nerdle really does make you work, as does Quordle, which I
Quordle-
just can't.
It's not that I haven't given up, is I have a problem with their highbrowness of the words that they use. It's hard enough finding 4 words in 9 tries where all the letters show up in all those words.
Yeah.
But then to start picking words like junty, J-U-N-T-Y, and forego, things like that. Like, I get it. Okay, that's kind of tough. But if you're trying to do 4 words, you need to give me 4 words like that.
Yeah.
Can't 4 of the words be stone?
And I think the draw of Wordle is everybody can play it, and it is. I don't want to say easy.
No, but that's exactly.
But
It's
it gives
accessible.
you the clue.
It is
accessible.
accessible.
It gives you the clues, and it's fun because you do. It's like,
Yep.
oh, what can it be? And you whittle it down the letters until you get there.
And
So
the one my wife and I love is Canuckle, which is the same thing.
And
5
that's
letters.
Canadian.
All things Canadian.
Yes.
My wife and I cheat at that one, but I think Canuckle would approve. Here's what we do, and we do it as soon as I get home. So we'll do it today.
yeah,
Is I put in the word canoe, which is my first word that I start with. And that was the first word they used when they started the game. I found out afterwards.
oh really?
She puts in syrup. And then we look at each other's phones. And based on that, and on that alone, we try and guess what the word is.
So you have it by 2,
Yeah.
hopefully.
That's our goal. And if we don't, then we quote unquote lost today. So I get it if Canuckle says, well, that's cheating. But this game is a game my wife and I love to play the way we love to play it. So I don't post it because it looks like, how did you get no letters in it? And yet you got it right second. Well, but it's funny how these games, if you do a slight variation of it, can be team builders. You see what we did in our Olympics a month ago with Wordle.
And it's very much become that. Like first
Yeah.
thing in the morning, the 2 morning shows, because there is another station here in the building. So between the 4 of us, that's what the morning conversation quite often is based around. Got it in 3, got it in 4. Oh,
Yeah.
it's got me stumped. And I find Hurdle's doing that. You and I were playing Hurdle for a while. We're like,
Yeah.
okay, you ready? And it was kind of who gets to yell it out first. And then
First few seconds of a song, and then if you get it wrong, you get more time. You
Yep.
get more time until you can name
and it's
the start of the
infuriating
song.
when you know it and you can't think of the artist and title.
Oh, I know, and I thought I had it nailed this morning. Got it wrong again. But all due respect to Canuckle, that's the way we play it. And because thank you, my wife and I just love that.
That's a great way to play. And
Yeah.
I love that it's based on Canadiana.
things. Yep.
Like words specifically to us. And I just Googled to see if there was an Australian one, but I don't see one.
Yeah, because how would you?
Because that would be hilarious. And probably slightly inappropriate in some
Mildly inappropriate.
in some circles.
And Wordle, which is the hockey names, and one of them last week was Panic, which is Richard Panic, a former Belleville Bull, and his last name. And there was David Ayers was there, who was here in Trenton for the Mayor's
anniversary of his big debut.
Yep, but the Mayor's hockey challenge there to raise some money for the hospitals when the Dukes took on the Golden Hawks last weekend. So it's all great. All great, and any variations are great. So, but anyway,
It's a
Canada,
lot of fun.
we're ranking a little bit better, but I got to really pick up my game.
When was the last time, and I'm just throwing this out there, something like this took the world, like it's worldwide. People around the world are playing this little game that started in someone's basement for his wife because, like you, she liked to play puzzles. So he created it, and then boom. It's just... this story amazes me, and I wouldn't be surprised if there's a Hollywood movie about it one day. But
Could be.
how it just
It does happen from time
grew.
to time. I think if I had to equate it with anything growing up, it would be the Rubik's Cube. How this colored
craze?
cube, suddenly this thing just took off.
And everybody
had to
had
do
one.
it, and everybody had to see how fast they can do it. And that was before the internet to show people how to do it or how
Did you
quickly
ever solve
to
it?
watch. Yeah, because I
Have you
learned how.
solved
I bought the book that shows you how to do it. I know, because it made me crazy. But I had to be shown how to do it, how to sort of give up and pick one side only and all that sort of stuff.
and work on
But,
it.
yeah.
It's amazing to watch people work on those, and that's a good one because
Yeah.
even now, still to see someone because it infuriates the heck out of me.
Does it really?
But to
Not
see
patient?
someone, no, not. Am
Okay.
I patient? Am I a
Yes.
patient person, Mark?
Very compared
no,
to
I'm
me,
not.
yes, you are. Yeah.
But to see someone who can do it, to see them work at it, to me is fascinating. Mm-hmm. How they can move it and move the shapes and the colors. So it blows my
Yeah.
mind because I can't do it.
What was the game show? How to Be a Millionaire? Do you want to be a millionaire? I can't remember.
With Regis?
Yeah.
Yeah.
How that exploded, came out of nowhere, prompted all kinds of radio games and everything. It's funny how when one thing goes, people gravitate
suppose.
to it. I think that there's not many. There's not many.
No, but something like this, as you've said, that is really, because I agree with you. It's created almost a team building feel to it.
Yeah.
People are talking about it. People are posting it.
It's
People
easy
are.
to do. It's daily.
Everybody knows about it. It's just one of those pop culture
Very
things
much. Yeah.
that is going to carry on, and it blows my mind because I guess maybe one is not coming to mind for me. So to be involved in it and experiencing it now, it's really at the forefront, and
Yeah.
it's incredible to see.
And, small idea made them millions.
Exactly.
Not saying everything's about the money, but don't think that, your little idea for something.
Well, I guess Facebook would be one too.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Anything social media.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
just kind of exploded. But yeah, you're right. This little idea and how it's just within months.
Within months,
It didn't
yeah.
even take years.
Yep.
It was literally, you could even say weeks.
I think
and
it was
just exploded.
1st of November, had 50 followers around the world or something. And now
then millions.
dominating our podcast.
It really is. And yeah, not just our podcast, conversations,
Mm-hmm.
work time. Like it just, of course, not here.
Not here because we don't work. But if we did,
But we did.
it would be dominating our work
Exactly.
time. So join us tomorrow for Throwback Thursday, our time theme with the time change as we spring
I feel like I let
forward.
you down with this week's theme.
No,
and I apologize.
Why?
Because it just seems so obvious. I just really wanted to hear Cindy
No, I know
Lauper
you
this
do
week.
time after time, and that's well out in front. And I am a massive Alan Parsons Project fan. And when I watched the Get Back video, I knew that Alan Parsons worked on Abbey Road with the Beatles. I didn't realize that he was also present for the Let It Be album because there were shots of him there.
Yeah.
And he would, of course, become a tremendous studio producer, took his favorite studio musicians, called them the Alan Parsons Project. They were really, not nobodies, but people in the industry knew who they were, but they weren't a touring band. They wrote songs and he put it together. And they became the Alan Parsons Project. And they had like major hits. Anyway, Time from Turn of a Friendly Card. It was one of my favorite albums in high school, 1981.
Well, you get right into it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if I need to sell it because people are like, what's that song? Oh, okay. Well, we can't be friends. You don't know the Alan Parsons Project.
I do have a few more votes than you currently.
Yeah, that's okay.
So
just thanks for letting me play the clip on the air.
Well, I was going to say thank you for letting me play my song in case there's a turn.
Yeah.
And educating all of us on the Alan Parsons Project.
I like to think that our show is more educational than entertaining. It's everything more than entertaining. I know that. But hopefully educational.
Educational in the sense of maybe, okay, don't do this.
Yeah.
Try to avoid this.
Yeah. If I'm nothing, if not just a better example of what can happen if you don't stay in school. Be very careful.
You and I both, Mark.
Yeah.
You and I
Mark
both.
and Charity Coffee Podcast. Believe it or not, we'll probably be on the air again tomorrow. We get
God
this
willing.
podcast up by about 11 o'clock in the morning. Find it wherever you get your favorite podcasts and a link to our social media sites. Get your votes in for tomorrow's Throwback Thursday for Burger Revolution. It is the 10th of March, getting closer to the time change weekend. So we're going to have guests from the fire department on the show and plenty more tomorrow with Mark and Charity Mornings and 95.5 Hits FM.